quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
What do you think, Chris? Is this a make or break year for Cousins in Minnesota?
Yeah, I didn't look up his contract, but I would think so.
Yeah.
He's just always been kind of there.
Yep.
It's like, you know, he has flashes of brilliance every once in a while, and then it just doesn't look good for a while. He's one of those quarterbacks that I just consider to be average. I don't know if, like, you would have to have the most incredible defense to win with him.
Yeah. So, Chris, buckle in. I'm going to rant a little bit here. Okay. Yeah. And this is my own personal opinion. I think Kirk Cousins, this is the most important year of his career. I think he has an excellent wide receivers in Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
For sure.
He has a phenomenal running back in Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
He has an O-line that may not be, top tier, but very capable. He has Mike Zimmer as a head coach who has proved to be a competent football mind and a coach that definitely isn't, he's not like someone you're taking a risk on. Like, he's a good coach.
Yep.
And last year was the worst defense in Mike Zimmer's career. They had some injuries, things like that. But I personally think the Vikings are a dark horse team in the NFC to make the playoffs. If Aaron Rodgers does not play for the Packers, I think there is no excuse for Kirk Cousins. He needs to win the division because you have the Bears that have Dalton and Justin Fields as rookie quarterbacks. You have Jared Goff and the Lions, and then you're potentially having Jordan Love and the Packers. And I say this again, I believe Aaron Rodgers is just one of those quarterbacks that makes his team better. Like, if Aaron Rodgers does not play, the Packers are a significantly worse team.
I agree. I think the Packers win maybe 5 games.
Yeah. So all that being said, Kirk Cousins, if you ever somehow see this, you got to show up, man. Like, you've been on the hot seat your whole career. You just seem to enjoy it. I don't know. like I feel like every year for the past 5 years, it's been like, do you think Cousins is there another year?
Yeah.
I literally have had this conversation every year with someone.
Yep.
But Chris, I tell you this as a football fan, this has got to be the year. Like, if he doesn't produce this year, I just don't see how the Vikings can move forward. Like, the fan base, there's just, how do you move forward with Cousins if he doesn't produce this year?
No clue. But the thing is with him is, like I said, like, he shows flashes of brilliance where you think, wow, he could be a really, really good quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just not consistent. And you're right. Like, he's got one of the best running backs in the NFL on his team.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson are phenomenal wide receivers.
Phenomenal.
Like, most teams would kill for 2 guys like that.
Yeah, they're both legit bona fide number 1 wide receivers.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, so you're throwing at 2 number 1s. You have arguably a top 3, top 5 running back in the NFL.
Yep.
He does everything.
Everything.
And so therefore, yeah, I agree. I think Kirk Cousins is he's out of excuses and time, and he needs to do well. And if Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, does not play for the Green Bay Packers, realistically, that division is, like, I don't see how the Minnesota Vikings don't win the division.
Yeah. And if they don't, I think you have to strongly consider, like, firing, Zimmer, or you at least have to move on from Cousins.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Like, if they like Zimmer as a head coach, the quarterback will go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you try to find someone, or you draft someone. The problem with them is that I guess Thielen's not too old. Neither is Jefferson, and neither is Cook. So really, I mean, you bring in a rookie quarterback, if they get a very high draft pick, then they're set up nicely because the rookie will be good in a couple of years.
Yep. No, I agree. We have a little comment here from Steven. And Steven, we really appreciate you watching us live here. He's saying, I don't think Vikings are going to hit the panic button on Kirk Cousins if Aaron Rodgers keeps up the holdup. Okay, yeah. Steven, I agree with that comment where I believe you're saying, if I interpret this correctly, that if Rodgers doesn't play, you don't want to hit the panic button on Cousins because he probably gives you your best shot to win the division. But I think what Chris and I are saying is there's just no excuse to not win the division if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play.
I don't. I mean, we know the Lions aren't a good football team.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Bears being especially good either. Their quarterback situation is just a bit of a mess. And I mean, really, you go back to that draft and you trade up to get Mitch Trubisky with, Deshaun Watson, who just came off a national championship, sitting there, and also, Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes wasn't the same player as in the NFL.
Yeah.
But at least, you just watched Deshaun Watson beat an Alabama team in the national championship, and you traded up for North Carolina's Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
so they're in trouble too, right? Like I said, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, the Green Bay Packers they're in a lot of trouble.
Well, okay, I'm gonna play this what if scenario here. Okay, so if Rodgers doesn't play and Kirk Cousins stinks up a storm, is there a legitimate chance that the Lions or the Bears win this division next year?
At 5 wins.
Yeah, 5 wins. Okay, maybe not. But it's crazy to think about, and we laugh about it. But it wouldn't take a lot, right? If Cousins keeps on just throwing unfortunate picks at unfortunate times, or unless Jordan Love really is secretly this amazing quarterback that, he is the greatest mystery in the NFL right now.
It doesn't sound like it from people in Green Bay, but.
But again, it's June, as you said before, but to it, right? It's June. So maybe Love comes and lights up the league. I think it's so funny that the Vikings have been stuck in this state of mediocrity with Cousins. I mean, because they went to the NFC Championship game with Case Keenum. They moved on from him to sign Kirk Cousins to a huge contract. I know he's reworked his contract a few times in his duration there, but at one point, every year I feel like you talk to NFL fans or Viking fans and you just say, do you think this is his final year with the Vikings? Yeah. And I don't know if I've ever had a quarterback that you felt that way with in the NFL, just year after year after year. You're like, yeah, it might be his last year.
I can't think of one. Honestly, I can't think of one off the top of my head. No. He's just that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Now to let's ask this question. This year, do you think the Vikings had a case to move on from Kirk Cousins when they could, say they probably wouldn't have gotten Stafford if they made that trade, but they could have gotten Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'd take him over Cousins.
That's an iffy one, mostly because Fitzpatrick is not careful with the football.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't look after it that well.
Okay.
And so we talked about turnovers earlier. Goff, right? You said Goff had one in every game. Well, people were all upset when they took Fitzpatrick out last year, but I think he was 5th in the league in interceptions at that point.
Okay. But what about the Vikings? They could have drafted a quarterback. They could have had Mac Jones. They could have had
They could have traded up for Fields.
They could trade up for Fields. They could have had Tyrod Taylor. You could make a case that you could have tried to trade to get Gardner Minshew from the Jags.
See, that would be that would be nice.
I'd take Gardner over Cousins.
I would 100% take Gardner over.
Yeah,
Cousins. He has a way better supporting cast in Minnesota than he did in Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I just think that, I feel like no one's making excuses for Cousins, but like there's just no consequences to his mediocrity, right?
Yeah, for sure. That I love that idea. Gardner Minshew to Minnesota.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
we know he's not playing.
Yeah.
So